Feel the ancient magic awaken. Let the light guide us through the depths. The ocean's heart beats with wonder.
The Weaver of the Sapphire Abyss. Deep within the heart of the Sapphire Abyss, where the weight of the ocean feels like a warm embrace, lived Nerida. She was a seeker of whispers, a curious soul who wandered the gardens of bioluminescent kelp that stretched toward the distant surface like emerald flames. In this world, there was no sun, only the soft, pulsing rhythm of the living lights. Nerida spent her hours tracing the glowing veins of the sea lilies and listening to the low, hummed lullabies of the migrating whales. To her, the abyss was not a dark void, but a cathedral of shimmering colors and silent music. Nerida's favorite pastime was collecting surface whispers, strange objects that drifted down from the world of air and light. One afternoon, nestled in a bed of violet sea moss, she found something extraordinary. It was a heavy piece of carved glass, a prism that captured the dim glow of the abyss and fractured it into 1,000 tiny rainbows. As she held it, the prism seemed to vibrate with a forgotten energy. She had never seen a whisper so bright or so heavy with purpose. She knew there was only one person who could explain such a treasure, the elder of the Great Spiral. At the center of the city stood the Great Spiral, a magnificent tower built from the shells of 1,000 ancient nautiluses. Within its curving walls lived Glaucus, the star shell weaver. Glaucus was as old as the currents themselves, his wisdom etched into the very patterns of his movements. He spent his days weaving the light webs that kept the city's bioluminescence from fading into the cold dark. When Nerida arrived, she found him carefully tending to a loom made of polished driftwood and silver sea silk, his eyes fixed on the intricate patterns of the abyss. Nerida presented the prism to Glaucus, and the old weaver froze. He took the crystal from her hands, his fingers trembling slightly as the prism's rainbows danced across the walls of the spiral. "This is no mere whisper, Nerida," he whispered, his voice like the grinding of pebbles on a beach. "This is a sun catcher. It was crafted by the people of the shore to hold the essence of the great fire in the sky. I have not seen one since the Great Dimming many centuries ago." He looked at her with a sudden sharp urgency. "It has come to us just in time, for the heart pearl is dying." Even as Glaucus spoke, a shiver ran through the water. The vibrant blues and greens of the Sapphire Abyss began to flicker and wane. High above, a great shadow was spreading, a cloud of murky darkness that swallowed the light of the jellyfish and the glow of the coral. The city's heartbeat, the massive heart pearl that sat atop the Great Spiral, was losing its luster. Nerida looked out the window and saw the panic of the sea dwellers as their world began to go gray. She felt a cold chill that had nothing to do with the temperature of the water. Glaucus led Nerida to the very pinnacle of the tower where the heart pearl rested. It was a sphere the size of a boulder, usually radiant with a pearlescent white glow, but now it was dull and pitted like an old bone. "The pearl feeds on the joy and the light of the sea," Glaucus explained, resting a weathered hand on the cold surface of the stone. "But the darkness from above, the soot and the shadows of the surface world is choking it. Without the sun catcher to filter the light, the pearl will go dark forever, and our home will be lost to the freezing deep." "What must I do?" Nerida asked, her voice steady despite the trembling of her heart. Glaucus handed her back the prism. "You must swim to the highest point of the Great Spiral, above the pearl itself. When the first pulse of the tide hits, you must hold the sun catcher aloft. it will gather the dying light and focus it into a single, pure beam. But you must hold it perfectly still, Narita. If the beam wavers, the pearl will shatter. Narita nodded, clutching the crystal to her chest. She began to climb the exterior of the shell tower, the water pushing against her as the darkness grew thicker. At the summit, Narita stood in the path of the cold current. She raised the prism high above her head. Below her, she could see Glaucus beginning a final desperate chant, his hands weaving a web of silver silk to act as a conductor for the light. He spun the threads with a frantic grace, creating a net that stretched from the base of the tower to the heart pearl. The silk hummed with a low frequency, vibrating through the water and into Narita's very bones. She took a deep breath of the briny water and braced herself against the rushing tide. Suddenly, a stray spark of bioluminescence hit the prism. It erupted. A blinding golden beam of light shot out from the crystal, striking the heart pearl with the force of a thunderclap. The pearl didn't just glow, it roared with light. The golden beam traveled down Glaucus's silver web, carrying the warmth of the sun into every corner of the Sapphire Abyss. The darkness was not just pushed back, it was transformed, turning into a kaleidoscope of dancing colors. Narita watched as the city below turned into a rainbow, more beautiful than it had ever been in all its history. When the light finally settled into a steady, warm pulse, the Sapphire Abyss was changed. The gardens grew taller, the fish sang louder, and the water itself felt lighter. Narita descended the tower to find Glaucus waiting for her. He placed a hand on her shoulder and smiled. The Suncatcher has found its true home, and I have found my successor. From that day on, Narita was no longer just a seeker. She was the guardian of the light, the girl who brought the sun to the bottom of the sea, ensuring that the Sapphire Abyss would never know the dark again.
And so the light of the abyss remains, just as these dreams remain with you. Until our next journey, sleep well and keep dreaming. The pages are closed, but the magic stays. Thank you for being part of this adventure. Remember, every great story starts with a single dream. See you next time.